Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, this is why we can't have nice things. Put Jason Dominguez in a Yankee uniform, and he gets injured and he's done for the year like all the other Yankees. So, Yankees get some real bad news, bad break, really a double whammy. Lose Jason Dominguez, will need off-season Tommy John surgery. Now, I know that sounds weird because he's a position player, but a torn UCL in his elbow there. Again, probably on maybe the home run swing from Friday night, who knows, but it's torn. He gets shut down for the rest of the season, and if that's enough, a double whammy. Yankees also lose Luis Severino for the rest of the season with the torn left oblique, and probably probably the reason why he's been up and down all season as well there. So again, double whammy for the Yankees, lose two key vital pieces. Again, I know they weren't going to be making the playoffs, but they just gave you a little glimmer of hope. But now with those two gone, you could say at this point, you put the nail in the coffin of the season. And this just comes off of the Yankees having really a sloppy, terrible weekend series against the Milwaukee Brewers at home, which should have been a little nicer, with Old Timers Day and kind of commemorating the 25th anniversary of the '98 team. But really, that almost goes away as a blip because it was just a miserable day at the stadium. Not only did the Yankees lose that game in sloppy fashion, we also had some rain and there was flooding at the stadium. And this whole weekend was just a mess for the Yankees. And they gave a little hurrah, winning the last game there, great. But at that point, the season's already over just with the news coming down with Dominguez there. So get into all that, but make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Again, it's going to be a long off season, going to be a lot of moves, going to be maybe some firings. So you want to catch all of it, get my take, get my angle on all this stuff. So make sure you subscribe to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast, and also check out the YouTube channel. Again, so maybe not as frequently updated as this podcast, but always new content going up there, new videos, interviews, and all cool stuff. So go to the YouTube channel, Section 420, Talkin Yankees, and make sure to subscribe there as well. So this would have been a good matchup, and Brew's a team about 14, 15 games over 500, kind of definitely looking like they're making a shot for the playoffs there. So if the Yankees were to have any hope at all of kind of getting back into this, which they kind of put themselves in a position with a little good run there, and taking 3 out of 4 in Detroit, sweeping the Astros, taking 2 out of 3 against Detroit at home. They should have taken all 3, but nevertheless, and plus all the hype and excitement with Jason Dominguez, you figure, hey, you know what? Only 6, 7 games out of wild card here, Well, that's just all gone now because losing Dominguez and Severino, you would need those 2 pieces if you would have any prayer. Again, not that there was a prayer to be had, but with those 2 guys gone, that the prayer is gone with that one. So Friday night, started off good with the Yankees, and again, Dominguez with a home run in the 3rd inning there with Judge on, kind of good omen there. Put the Yankees up early, 2-0, but then shortly blowing the lead there. Then Severino needed to be taken out of the game. They weren't sure. It looked like he really was in pain with the core of his body. And of course, afterwards, we get the bad news that, yes, a little tear in the oblique or severe strain. Nevertheless, has to be shut down for the rest of the season. And possibly that might have been the last pitch he might have thrown in the Yankee uniform, because now he enters the free agency. And you really got to wonder, are you going to be bringing this guy back? So injury prone. Again, when he's healthy, he's good. We've seen him had, his last 3 starts, take 2 out of 3 of them were brilliant. I know he gave up a couple of 2-run home runs in Houston. It wasn't like garbage. Still 3 pretty decent starts. Before that, he was throwing up zeros. So it looked like he found whatever he was, he lost early in the season, but then now you see this injury. And again, is this a guy you're going to want to bring back? I can't see you commit more than 1 year to this guy, man, unless it's a real team-friendly 1-year deal. Okay, really the dollar amount doesn't matter. It's just more like you can't give this guy more than 1 year because the injuries, whether it's the elbow, now it's the oblique. He's had Tommy John surgery before with the Yankees. It's just always something with this guy. I would not go more than 1 year with him, but again, that's going to be something going to the offseason. But again, a good opportunity, good shot that he probably maybe threw his last pitch in a Yankee uniform, and unfortunately would come in a losing effort. Yankees held it close, but it was really a 3-run 7th there, and Greg Weissert and Loizaga. Again, Loizaga, who's been relatively good for the Yankees since coming back, got slapped around here, and the Yankees dropped the first game by a score of 8-2. And of course, it's kind of but would overshadow that as the news that Severino's done for the year. So again, if the Yankees had any kind of hope of kind of crawling back into the wild card hunt there, you would need someone like Severino. Nestor Cortez is already gone. Rendon is just terrible. You don't know what you're going to get when the guy goes out there. Severino's at least a little glimmer of light there alongside Cole's has been brilliant, but you can't just be Cole alone. So with Severino, there goes those hopes. And then, of course, the dagger in the second game there. Jason Dominguez goes 0 for 4, and you figure, maybe just the kid finally had just a bad day or whatever. So we'll get into that a little bit after the game. But as for the game itself, this was Yankees Old Timers Day. So, and I kind of got into this in a previous episode. It's really not the same anymore. They don't play a game. They all just kind of get out there in their uniform for a photo op. It's cool to see some of the guys back. Again, this was kind of really focusing on the 98 Yankee team. Of course, the big highlight was this was Derek Jeter's first time back in the Yankee uniform for Old Timers Day. And this is the whole thing, again, mentioned, like, a guy like Jeter maybe doesn't want to play shortstop and look like an idiot, look stupid bobbling a ball. I mean, we remember how graciously he played the game and played the field there. So, again, I got to understand a player like him and his players in general just don't want to do that anymore. But, that was the lore, the charm of Yankee Old Timers Day, to see a guy from the late 60s go up against a guy, that played in the 80s and pitch against him, and Ron Guidry pitching against Homer Bush or something. It was cool to see that. Will it ever come back? I don't know. It doesn't seem like that. And kind of this goes back to like a lot of people saying like this is not the same Yankee organization. Hal isn't George, and Old Timers Day isn't the Old Timers Day we used to be. Again, I can see some of that argument with things like that. Usually when these things like sort of like the DH, once you cross that line, it doesn't come back. So like once you have the DH in the National League, I don't think it's ever going to come back. So I don't think you'll ever see Yankee Old Timers Day the way it was. It's kind of a shame, but maybe at some point they bring it back. Let's see. Again, that was all just due to the whole COVID restriction, which you understand at the time. All right, you want to bring these guys back, not have them on the field too much against each other with COVID going around. Some of these guys are older, in the 60s and 70s. All right, I get it. But, now COVID's kind of done. I mean, even O'Neal now is around the team who's supposedly not vaccinated. So let's see, maybe at some point they do play the game. But as for the game itself, we're able to get it in now. There was a bit of a washout, big rains in New York. And I had this too one time. When I remember the first year at the new stadium, quote-unquote new stadium, that was back in 2009. That was a game against the Tigers, and it was like a delayed start, and the rains came down. Literally, we were up in the upper deck, and it was like waterfalls. So, I don't know. They got to do a little better the drainage system there. And I remember that game, actually, they were able to play it. And I remember Mark Teixeira had a big 3-run home run somewhere. I can't remember that. But nevertheless, I always just remember that game, though. But just the monsoons and the waterfall coming down the stairs at the new stadium there. I don't know about the drainage system. It's a little tricky there. And a lot of fans just left early. Game itself was close. Michael King started it. But it was the Yankee bullpen and some sloppy play, really some sloppy infield play. Kicking the ball around there. Loizaga, who got smacked around the night before, as well as Matt Crook, who they had to bring up just to get a fresh arm. I guess probably, with all these pitches like Severino dropping, really got crushed there in the 7th and 8th. The Yankees end up dropping the second game by a score 9-2. And really at that point, you get the news afterwards. And Jason Dominguez, who went 0 for 4 in the game, has a torn UCL, will need Tommy John surgery. Now, the Yankees had this before. I mean, other players, I remember Gleyber Torres after his first year, he needed Tommy John surgery. 2019, I think Aaron Hicks, he needed it as well. So really for position players, it's not as bad, and I think that the time frame is much shorter to come back. So you've seen estimates from 6 months to 9 to 10 months recovery, but they're all saying it really shouldn't interfere with his 2024 campaign. Let's see. Now, they haven't scheduled a date for the surgery, but obviously you want to get it done as soon as possible just so he can get on the road to recovery to come back. Again, this is something that affects a pitcher as much. Where you pitch, you have to go through a whole rehab thing, you build your arm straight. So it's a little different beast. So hopefully it's something, it's not too complicated and you can come back and just pick up what was, giving the Yankee fans something to be cheery about. So I guess as soon as the Martian landed, now the Martian takes off and goes to Mars, and we're not going to see him again until 2024, which then brings us to the final game, Garrett Cole versus Corbin Burns. And this was a game where the Yankee offense, as bad as it's been this season, this was probably the worst display. Actually got no hit into the 11th inning. Now, Burns went 8 innings, and he was as brilliant as well. Now, Cole, on the other hand, wasn't as bad as himself. They're both pitchers, again, in top form, kept both teams off the board. But finally, the Brewers were able to punch through with a run in the 11th there for a 1-0 lead. Now, the Yankees would tie it in the bottom of the 11th, finally getting a hit. And it was Oswaldo Cabrera with ghost runner Volpe on, able to single him in, ties the game at the point 1-1. Now in the 12th, the Brewers put 2 on the board and went ahead 3-1. And then with a runner on, bottom of the 12th, Giancarlo Stanton with probably it might be the only big clutch hit home run he's had all season. Not too much late inning magic from him, but goes opposite field, 2-run clutch home run to tie the game in the 12th. So again, the Yankees showing some grit, some gut, coming back this for the second time in this game after being no hit through 10 innings. But in the 13th, finally the Yankees' lucky inning with a runner on Higgy with a single to left field, easily runner scores, and the Yankees with a walk-off 4-3 win there to a really somewhat of an empty Yankee Stadium there. Again, early in the game, a lot of rains, there's terrible weather, and then of course at that point, the Yankees are just miserable totally. Just again, a lot of this dark clouds, not only with the weather, but it's kind of losing Dominguez, and Severino's gone, and you got a washout on Old Timers Day, and there's just a lot of stuff there. And plus, of course, Sunday was the first day of football, week 1, so kind of like everyone's attention was kind of glued towards that. So, even the Yankees had a little good moment there. There was really no one around to even see it, and the Yankees lucky to finally take that last game by a score of 4-3. But now find themselves, again, when they were kind of almost crawling up a little bit, but now back into the AL East basement there with a record of 71-72. Now they go over to Boston for 3 games, so again, Boston's a team ahead of them. So hey, look, if they want to at least get out of that 5th place hole there, just at least get with some victory, some dignity to sort of close out the season. They'll have an opportunity to do that against the Red Sox, but of course, the rest of the way, no more Dominguez, no more Luis Severino. It would have been nice to at least Dominguez for a couple more weeks just to see what he could do, and maybe just give us a little excitement, a little, even if it's a false hope, just give us something. But with those two gone now, you got to say really the season at this point is probably officially over with those two gone. And now it's just a matter of maybe how many starts does Cole have, just as he tries to creep closer to getting an American League Cy Young Award for himself. That's about the only thing you're looking forward to. And I don't know, maybe at some point they just finally just shut down Judge just because, he's been okay, he's been playing the field, but again, he has the torn ligament in the toe. At this point, is there any reason to push him any further? You might see a situation maybe in a week they just finally decide to shut down Judge. And then, again, we're going to enter into a very peculiar, interesting offseason. Now, other players being mentioned, Mike Trout, supposedly news going around that if he would want to leave, ask for a trade, obviously has a no-trade clause, the Angels would entertain sending him somewhere. Now, of course, everyone's going to say, Yankees. He's a South Jersey guy. I don't know if he's more of a Phillies fan or a Yankees fan, to tell you the truth. But, of course, you're going to hear a lot of people say, oh, go get him. But again, he has a lot of money left. He's always hurt. I would not touch that. I mean, he's a great player when he plays. We all know that, but he's hurt all the time, and we have enough of that with the Yankees as it is, and guys making a lot of money were hurt. So, again, I would not touch that with a 50-foot pole, but that's going to be some of the noise you're going to hear this offseason. So that's the episode. Dropped 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. Severino gone, Dominguez gone, bit of a washout for Old Timers Day, but cool to see Derek Jeter back. And I guess the one look at the moment was Willie Adames from the Milwaukee Brewers coming over to see his idol Jeter there, and they had a little bit of a moment. And of course, later in the game, Adames would punish the Yankees with a home run, but nevertheless, I guess he had a good weekend for him. So, I'm glad you enjoyed your New York stay there, Adames. Catch you next time.